Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. And as promised, freshly shaven, no beard, ready to go with a new installment of Lyles Figure Files. So this is Wednesday. Wrestling goes on Wednesday. It's not going to be the norm, but this time it's got to be no other than a wrestling wacky Wednesday because there's so much stuff on the wrestling figure market and a lot that's got me very excited. Let's start off with the big dogs on campus. That, of course, is Mattel. They have launched their WWE Ultimate Edition Attitude Era ring. This one's coming with an inverted cane, so it's a lot more red or black than red. It looks pretty cool. This one's going up for $140. It'll ship around May, not too far, so it's not a big window to order and then wait to get the thing. It looks impressive. It's just basically the same as the new generation arena ring. It's got the setup, the great setup with the wooden platforms in between, so you can feel like you're actually building the ring, putting it together. It's got all the posts, got the ring aprons, ring skirts with the Attitude Era flavor, and it comes with a cane figure just as an added bonus. I think I would have preferred to not have cane in this set if that could have taken the price down to $110 maybe. I guess the Ultimate Edition figures clock in around $33, so maybe even a little bit cheaper. But for me, who has that amazing new generation Ultimate Edition arena set, this isn't quite the same payoff. Doesn't have the cool laser LED entrance. Doesn't have all those cool features that made that so special. No table, no three figures to really sell it. Different ring aprons. It's one. I really wish that companies that did these multiple ring setups would figure out a way to include a separate, hey, you've got the base ring, we're going to make a separate accessory kit for those of you who don't have space to fill your basement, your display space with 14 different rings to get all these different eras. I would love to get this Attitude Era ring skirt, the ring post, and just swap it out so I could use this setup for all my Attitude Era guys, because I'm not going to put them in the old school 80s, early 90s new generation ring, but I don't want to plop down $140 just so I can have a playset for Stone Cold, The Rock, DX, Mankind, etc. So I really hope that Mattel can figure out a solution that works for all of us, for everybody who didn't want that new generation ring, wants the Attitude Era ring, and for people like me who just want the accessory kit so I can keep building off of what I already have. So hopefully that's something they can come up with down the road. But for everybody that wants this Attitude Era ring, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. It's a really good, firm ring. The ropes are tight. They stand up pretty well. You got a lot of depth with your figures. It's a really cool setup. So for those of you who were waiting for this one, it's all good. It's all love for you. Of course, I'd love to see some more ring aprons, maybe WCW, NWA, even older WWF in the 80s era with rock and wrestling at its peak. Maybe something with arena specific logos, ring aprons. I don't know. There's so many options. We've seen that from companies that have done just ring skirts. I'd love for Mattel to just do that themselves so we don't have to fight with anybody else. We can just have that. Maybe even have swappable ring ropes. I mean, just the whole deal. I think I would pay $30, $40, maybe even $50 just for the option to swap these out. So I'd love to see that as something Mattel can do. So I believe in you guys. Make it happen. Powertown Wrestling revealed some test shots of some of their figures from their first wave of Legends Lives On, and they're looking really good. It's not one of those cases where, that's not looking as good as that prototype that sold me on pre-ordering these figures. They've shown Lou Thez, Magnum TA, and Kerry Von Erich. And it's really cool seeing the differences in the sculpts, just how Lou Thez is a little leaner than Magnum. Magnum's a little thicker. He's not as cut and rugged as Kerry Von Erich, who's really muscular. I think they've done a really good job of establishing different base bodies right away. So that's exciting. Good news for the future. The head sculpts look really good. There's only so much you can see without the fully painted version, but the sculpts themselves look great. And the belts look dead on. I'm really excited about this line. I'm very curious to see how those jackets fit, how easy they are to remove. You don't want to deal like those early Mattel figures where you were ripping up the shoulders trying to take those heavy leather jackets off. So it doesn't look like they're made of that kind of material, but I'm hoping they're not too hard to get off either. But these look good. Really excited. Looking forward to actually seeing more of these figures and hopefully getting some more reveals, news about some other figures coming down the line. The big news, the news that I kind of really wanted to get into with this episode, was Zombie Sailor Toys really starting to make an impact here and entering in the 6-inch market. They revealed Jeff Jarrett is their first wave of 6-inch figures. He's one of 4, and this is exciting because when Jarrett went to AEW, so many WWE fans like myself were blown because it was like we were this close from getting the Ultimate Edition Jeff Jarrett figure, and now we're not going to get him because Mattel or Jazzwares can't do the legendary WWE looks of these guys. So we're just stuck not having a Jeff Jarrett, one of the last guys from the New Generation era that was viable in figure form. So we're just short. But Zombie Sailor Toys is like, nope, we got you. They showed an image. Looks like we're going to get a classic New Generation style Jeff Jarrett, multiple portraits. Very excited about this. Not just because of Jarrett, but because these 6-inch figures really opens up a whole new realm of figures based off of characters, wrestlers they've already signed to their line. Here's some guys that they've already signed up for their Hasbro inspired figure set, and those figures look really good. And I am really excited about seeing some of these guys in a 6-inch format because it doesn't seem like Mattel can get them. Jazzwares, just their Luminaries line, just hasn't really done a whole lot to get me excited, but this looks like it'll really fill in some major gaps in my collection. Let me break down some of the figures they've already signed in their smaller scale setup that would be very, very exciting to see in their 6-inch line. They're really focusing on a lot of ECW, a lot of WWF guys that haven't been done before, and if these guys get made into the 6-inch line, they're really going to fill in some gaps for Mattel's line. So for starters, they've got Roadkill, just on the ECW front. Got Roadkill, Mikey Whipwreck, complete with licensed t-shirts. So it's not going to be some generic Mikey Whipwreck. It's his classic dragon shirt. That's really cool. Got Raven with a licensed ministry shirt and leather jacket. These figures in the small scale look cool, but actually seeing them in the 6-inch format would be amazing. We've also got Chris Candido with the Triple Threat signed as well. So we've already got a Bam Bam Bigelow. We get Chris Candido. Hopefully Shane Douglas is on the way too, so we can get the Triple Threat from ECW in 6-inch figure form. That would be amazing. Definitely something I hope we see down the road. Then Sabu is also signed. Getting a great 6-inch Sabu figure is definitely something I want in my collection. So looking forward to him possibly being in his first wave of 6-inch figures. Then we've got Kevin Sullivan from his stint during Florida, where he was running around with Purple Haze Woman, doing his thing there, fighting Dusty Rhodes in Florida. That's really cool. Hopefully this also opens up the door for a Taskmaster from the Varsity Club and Taskmaster from the Dungeon of Doom era as well. But that's pretty exciting to get Kevin Sullivan, a character who has been around for so long, been involved in so many cool feuds, and actually getting him in figure form from Florida onto the rest of his wrestling career. That would be really cool. So then for WWF, they've got some real big dudes that really fill in some gaps. Jack Tunney is already signed. That'd be cool just to have the president of the WWF for so many years actually in figure form, leading these press conferences and keeping Andre and Hogan away from each other. Very cool. Slick is also someone they've signed. For whatever reason, Mattel was just like, nope, can't do Slick. And I didn't quite understand that. And then I saw Zombie Sailor's Toys version. I was like, well, there's Slick right here. So hopefully he's a priority because we've got so many guys that Slick manages. We've got Rick the Model Martel, we've got the Twin Towers, got those guys. And it's like, where is the Dr. Styles Slick? So it'd be really cool to see him in this wave pretty soon early on. I'm sure this isn't going to be the only 6-inch wave they do, but I'd love to see Slick sooner rather than later. Then they've also got Bastion Booger, they call him Mike Boogershaw for licensing purposes, but he's another new generation era villain heel that we can put in the mix. The problem with the new generation era was they just didn't have really good formidable villains outside of Owen, Yokozuna, Psycho Sid, and I guess 123 Kid and Tatanka. I mean, you see how kind of the bottom falls out really quick. And after Shawn Michaels turned face, the odds got stacked really hard to the face side anyway. So we got Booger Shaw coming. That'd be a fun figure just to have, because it's like a, who would have ever thought we'd see him in a 6-inch format scale. So he'd be cool. But one guy I'm really excited, and hopefully they get to him soon too, is Bad News Allen / Brown. Big time player in the WWF in the mid 80s. Fought Jake the Snake, Roddy Piper, Hogan, Macho Man. He's definitely somebody that I want to see in my collection, because Bad News Brown was cool. And he had the Ghetto Blaster. He was just a cool dude. And even though I didn't really like most heels, I was a good 80s kid. I was like, hey, everybody who's a face I'm rooting for, and everybody who's a heel I'm rooting against. I thought Bad News Brown was pretty cool. So getting him would be a super plus. Then we've also got more players in the background. Got a Todd Pettingill figure. Got Earl Hebner. These are two cool additions to the line. Mattel's just not been able to get a lot of referee figures. We got that Danny Davis kind of on the sneak, but getting an Earl Hebner would be really fun as well. Then they've also signed Paul Roma, and I'm really curious about what they could do with him. Maybe we get him in the style of his Power and Glory era. That would be my choice for him. So I can team him up right next to Slick. That would be cool. And then hopefully they get Hercules as well, so we can get them with their funky shades, their cut off shirts, and just doing their thing. That'd be really cool. Then they got Brian Pillman from his Loose Cannon. And again, another licensed t-shirt deal. So he's just running around. This is when he wasn't wrestling. When he was popping up in ECW, showing up on WCW TV randomly, and also causing chaos in WWF. That's a nice alternate look for him, especially since he wasn't wrestling so much. And it'd be good to have him in the background of the Hart Foundation rocking this outfit in 6-inch form. Got Big Bully Busick. So he is definitely somebody who wasn't a big player, but because he's a 6-inch, I would probably go grab him just to have Diesel and Bret Hart, British Bulldog, and those guys beat up for a little bit, just to flesh out that roster a little bit more. Speaking of fleshing out the rosters, Dino Bravo is also signed to this line, and he's been someone that Mattel, that Jax just has never been able to get, and adding him would provide a major member of Jimmy Hart's 90s army. Got his tag team partner Earthquake, Greg the Hammer Valentine. Bravo was around in so many of those Survivor Series matchups. It'd be really good to knock him off. He would be a major figure from the 80s and 90s to actually have in the collection and done. And again, he was so prominent with Earthquake that it feels like, oh man, we're really missing somebody in the collection and those Survivor Series teams to not have him. So he would probably be one that I would want to see in that very first wave, just because he fleshes out so much on the WWF front. And now finally, the other two important characters that they've got that I can't imagine they won't include in this first wave, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors. These two, definitely somebody that Mattel wants to get back into the line. Zombie Sailors Toys has them, so we could get so many different versions of Hawk and Animal. They're AWA style, NWA style, and the possibilities are really wide open for those guys. And I really love to see them, because I have the LOD and I have the very first Legends Road Warriors, which were kind of small and not quite using the best bodies by the time Mattel started creating more. And it'd be really nice to see Hawk and Animal in their 80s style with better articulation, better molds, better bucks to kind of fit them better and more accurate to their physiques during that time period. Ric Flair is also signed with Zombie Sailors Toys, so he might be another character they dig deep on with multiple versions for the 6-inch line. There's still so many color schemes, so many color tires that we don't have a Flair that they could go off. Maybe do different hairstyles with Flair. Different portraits, of course, would be great for him as well. I know that Ultimate Edition flare that we do have was awesome, but I'd love to add some more as well. So I'm really hoping that they will have great articulation comparable to the Ultimate Edition scale, but just getting some of these guys in the 6-inch figure format will be good enough for me. I mean, I can imagine building up a full ECW roster from these guys: Raven, Tommy Dreamer, Pitbulls, Stevie Richards, BWO, Public Enemy maybe, Too Cold Scorpio, Sandman, so many characters, Impact players that I'd love to see, hopefully, from Zombie Sailors Toys. So that's exciting. Really looking forward to see who will be joining Jeff Jarrett as more of these initial wave of 4 6-inch figures. So let me know what you guys think about this. Are you excited about another player in the wrestling world coming up to the 6-inch format? I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. Curious what Mattel will do about accessory packs for these rings, and of course, any other updates from Powertown Wrestling. As always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Laos Figure Files has been filed.